Hello and welcome to day 23 of our 90 days data analytics training. Today we'll discuss and see how we can use macros to automate repetitive tasks in Excel. Sometimes you have to work smarter than you work hard. I'm just going to show you how to let Excel do the repeating tasks for you. Now pick up your pen and your paper to take notes as we go on with this tutorial. Let's start by explaining what macros are. So macros is just like a set of instructions that automates tasks in Excel. Think of macros as Excel recording your actions. So you want to perform action now, you just ask Excel to record it so that it saves it, and whenever you want to perform that same action, you just tell it to repeat the command. It is ideal for repetitive steps like formatting, copying, data cleaning, and lots more. Why should we use macros? We should use macros because it saves time on repetitive tasks, it minimizes manual errors, and it also helps in standardizing reports and also increase our productivity for routine operations. So I'm going to perform macros on a sample data set in the healthcare niche, and we are going to see how we can apply macros for repetitive tasks. So before you start working with any data set using macros, you need to enable macros in your Excel. And let's see how we can do that. So you want to come here to the File tab, all right? In the File tab, you come down here, you're going to see Options. Click on the Options. When you click on the option, it's going to pop up this tab, and you want to click on Trust Center. All right? When you click on Trust Center, you want to go to Trust Center Settings. When you click on that, you're going to see macro settings on this part. You want to disable VBA macros without notification to keep your PC safe. You want to check this enable Excel 4.0 whatever. You want to check the box, and then you just do OK. So you just do OK, right? And just come to this view. All right, in this view, you're going to see your macros already, and then you can start recording. Now we have a case study, a scenario. A hospital routinely exports patient vital signs from its EMR system. The exported data is unformatted and requires consistent structuring for analysis. Now we want to use Excel macros to automate the formatting of patient vital signs data, ensuring consistency and saving time. So subsequently, we are going to have this data set every time, like consistently, and we want to ensure consistent formatting whenever we are giving this data set. And this is the sample data that I have generated for this case study, right? So first of all, let me try to duplicate this data set. So once we are done performing macros on the main one, then we come and repeat the step on the other worksheets that we just duplicated. So first things first, we do not have our developer tab right here. Let's first enable our developer tab. How can we do that? Come here to the Files tab. Then you're going to see options, right? In these options, you're going to click it, and then you see customize ribbon right here. And I just want to check the developer tab right here, and I'll say okay. So you can see once I click that, it brought out the developer tab up here, right? So once it brings out the developer tab, I want to navigate to the developer tab. In the developer tab now, I can see macros and record my macros easily from there. Okay, so now that we are in the developer tab, let's try to record a macro. So you have to give it a macro name. So let's call it format vitals, and then you can give it a shortcut key. So whenever you want to reapply this formatting of the vitals into another data set entirely, once you press that shortcut key, it's automatically going to apply it. So what should we use as the shortcut key? Let's use Ctrl+Shift+H. You can see I just pressed Shift H, and then it's added this. All right, so we want to store these macros in this our workbook actually. So let's store it in this workbook. We don't want to store it in a new workbook. So if you want to add a description so that in the future, if you are looking into the macros you've created, then you want to remember what you actually did with that macros, then you can write a description here. I'm not just going to do that. I'm just going to say, okay. Can you see that it's bringing stop recording because this recording has already started? So for the recording, let's say I first want to double check this so that my data set is aligned. Then I want to highlight the first row and then make it bold, add the formatting to it, right? Let's say I want to highlight my entire data set. Oh, sorry. Let's say I want to highlight my entire data set and add border to it, border right here. So let's say I added border to my data set. What else can I do? Let's say I want to do number formatting on this temperature column. I want to add more decimal points to it. I'll come here. Let me add more decimal points. Let's make it 3 decimal points for the sake of this tutorial. So let's say I'm done recording my macros now. I can come back to the developer tab and stop my recording. Alright, so once I stop my recording, it's like nothing happened, right? And my macros is already saved. Now let's go to the new sheet I created with the new data set. So let me do Ctrl+Shift+H now. Can you see it applied all of the formatting that we said? Okay, so you can see it added formatting, border, made the header bold, and so that is how you can record a macros. You can basically record your steps, whether data cleaning, maybe there's a data set that they keep sending it every month and it has the same structure and there's always a repetition that you're always applying every week or every month. I just gave you the cheat code to do that. So you just have to press the shortcut key every time the data comes in, and in less than a minute. Do not tell your boss this so they don't decrease your salary. And just in case you forgot to add shortcuts to your macros, maybe you did not add shortcut key while you were doing it, all you have to do is you can come here back to the views, right? Or you can come here back to the views. You see your macros here. You can view your macros, or you can do it from the developer tab as well. So this is the macros that we just did. Then you can just run it from here. So you can use macros for a lot of things, like a lot of recording. Just see the simple one we did here. You can do it for other things. Think of anything and then apply macros to it. And then let's talk about VBA, because when people want to talk about macros, they will always say macros and VBA. What is VBA? VBA is Visual Basic for Applications. VBA is just like the code base. All the repetition we did now is going to save as a code. All right, but you don't need to learn that right now, right? You can just keep using your macros. You don't have to care about the code as a beginner. In the future, if you want to upgrade, you can try to learn how VBA works. So in case you want to modify some of your recordings, you can just go into the VBA and edit the code. Now let me show you how to access the code. You can go to Developers tab, and in the Developers tab, you are going to see Visual Basic. If you click on it right here, it will open it, Microsoft Visual Basic for Application. So if I want to see the code I just wrote for the formatting and everything like that, I'll just come here to the module and I'll click on this module 1. If you click on this module 1, let's expand the screen. And now you can see that we named it Format Vital Macros. This is the shortcut key we added that we did by just recording our macros, but this is the code base where everything is going on. And you can see that the first thing we did was to select the entire column. I did Autofits, and then I selected my data set and made it bold. Can you see selection fonts made it bold? And then I just did, so this is basically everything I did in form of code in the macros. But as a beginner, you don't really need to go deep into it. You can just record your macros and then automate your repetitive tasks. Okay, so some common limitations and caution that you have to take when you're using macros is that it cannot fix human errors automatically. You have to be the one to like prompt it to be able to repeat it. So, and also macros may be blocked in some corporate environments. They may not allow it. And also macros don't work if you're using Excel online. If you don't have the desktop version, then it might not work. There are some best practices when working with macros. You want to name your macros clearly based on what it's going to do. All right, so as you can see, when I wanted to name my macros, I did formatting vitals because I'm working with dataset on vitals, and what we did in the macros recording is that we formatted it. So when you want to save your macros workbook file, let me do Ctrl+S now. So whenever I want to save it, you can see you always have to save it as this .xlsm file. And XLSM basically means macro enabled workbook. Let's say you're still bringing it as .xlsx and you want to change it, just click on this and then you can change it to whatever you want. But we are saving, always save your macros files as .xlsm. and then we can save. And always make sure that you test on a copy data before you use it on your original data to avoid errors. And you have to be very cautious when somebody sends you their macros and you want to use it for your analysis. Alright, so that is all I have for you today. Make sure you practice how to use macros, and if you're in the paid community, you have access to tasks that you're going to do together with dataset that you can do, and also once you are done doing it, you can send it back in for double check. I hope you enjoyed today's class, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.